This one is the one I'm going to do next. This one is strawberry cream with transparent orange and clear that I stacked in this mold. This is a technique that I've seen Patty Gray do. She's kind of my glass idol. And so one of the projects she did here, I get the most compliments on. And so I have to take my hat off to Patty, because this is one, I think she calls it the Venetian Blind. Isn't that pretty? And it's a little bit warm. And so I'm going to leave it in here. And then by the end of this, I can bring it out. And then this is another project. This is the one that we're going to use scrap glass. And I have a plan for this. I'm going to put it on our wine bottle slump and make a wine bottle holder out of it. And I've got one in the glass room that I'll show you. It's a little warm. So there you go. I've got the molds up front. I've resprayed them. Let's see, show my face real quick. Hi. I'm going to do a project similar to the one I just showed you with strawberries and cream, which is this right here. But I'm kind of tempted to switch it up. Since I did this one yesterday, I think I'm going to use another glass by Oceanside that's new, that's streaky like this also, but it's different colors. But the technique will be the same. I just wanted to do a different one because I did this one yesterday. And so on that one you saw in the kiln, we've got the strawberries and cream, orange and clear is what's in that mold. And so what I'm going to do to change it today is I'm going to use, I thought I pulled this out, but I guess I didn't. I think I'm going to try this one. What do you think, Kelly?
That's pretty.
It's a different pattern. The strawberries and cream is more like the Opal Art series, where it's a more exacting pattern. But I think I might do this one. It's semi-transparent too. This is called Steel Blue White Wispy. It's a beautiful piece of glass. And if I do this, I think I'll do clear and a lighter blue as because I don't want to do a real dark blue because it'll just go too dark. And so I think Steel Blue's on the reactive chart, but I didn't do my homework to check. I'm going to show you one of my favorite things about Oceanside. Watch this. That's like, you have no idea. I have struggled for years to get labels off of sheet glass that comes in. I have razor blades laying around, so I just had to share that. Okay, so with this project, this glass, the pattern goes this direction, and so I'm going to want to create strips that are going in that direction so it repeats. See what I mean? If I did my strips this way, the pattern would repeat this way, and I don't think it would be as graphic. And so if I want to make strips go in this direction, and I believe they are 10-inch long by 1/2 inch wide strips, and so I'm going to cut this glass at 10 inches.
Michelle asks, doesn't steel blue change color if uncovered?
No, not in System 96. It's, and I say that like I know much about Bullseye. I don't really, but I've used steel blue before and works with no problem. Oceanside or Old Spectrum steel blue doesn't change when it's uncapped. Apparently Bullseye does, is what we're hearing. That's what somebody just said, isn't it? So I'm going to cut this at 10 inches. Oh, I forgot. I forgot I was going to tell them I have to fill the mold with a piece of clear, and I need to put see, Jennifer Joey would know why that happened.
Can you speak a bit louder?
Sure.
Use your outdoor voice.
Okay. Now I have set up my stops already so that they are at 1/2 inch. Oops, I'm putting them in backwards, but besides that, I always want to put them in backwards. When I use these things, to me, logically, this is where it should go, but that isn't the way it should go. And so Jennifer is the person that has taught me more about the Morton grid system than anybody else. And so I've now started to use those stops like they're supposed to be, and now I pull the glass up. I don't use this as a straight edge anymore, which is what I used to do. I pull it up so that I can cut through the entire length. And this is a really cool glass cutter. It's by Toyo. I really recommend Toyo's cutting tools. They are high quality, and honestly, they will last you till the end of time. Let's see. Okay. I'm going to need, I can't remember how many I need. I have to go get that piece of glass. I thought it was 6. I think it's going to be 9 strips of this color, 9 strips of clear, and 9 strips of whatever color we decide to use with it.
Why do you have it floating above it?
If you put it down here, which is what I've done my whole glass life, because I use this as a straight edge, when I come to the end, I'm not hitting the end of the glass properly. And so I raise it so that this is my straight edge now. And so does that make sense?
Yeah. Jennifer said it's her favorite cutter.
Yeah, I think actually I got that after Jennifer. I want to be just like Jennifer when I grow up.
Me too.
And so I think I bought that tool because she used it. And so one cool tip here is, see how you can put your finger like this to hold your cutter so that it is nice and smooth against this. It's kind of a handy tip because you know how sometimes you can cut like this, get some weeble and wobble going. And so
some weeble and wobble?
Right. Nobody wants weeble and wobble on this.
What mold are you using?
I am using the, oh boy, I think it's a GM 242. It's a dam mold that is 10 inches long by 4 1/4 inches wide inside. And so I'm going to cut a piece of clear glass that size too. And I'm going to put that clear glass, I'm going to put thin fire paper down in the mold, actually papyrus, down in the mold, and then I'm going to put the clear on top, and then I'm going to line these strips on end. I wonder if I probably should have had these pre-cut. It's might be. So where am I? I'm at 6.
Cindy said if you use bullseye steel blue and want it not to change, just lightly dust it with clear powder before firing.
Okay, that's just capping it. That makes sense. I had no idea, and so that's how I learn things, is by just getting in there and making mistakes. I'm
very trial and error.
Yeah, very much so.
Stephanie's quote is, "There's only one way to find out."
Yeah, it's true. What was I going to say on that? I don't remember. I'm sure it was just genius.
I know, it's gone.
Yeah. Okay, so what I should have been doing is placing those in order as they came off the main body of the glass, because it's amazing how hard it is to get them back in order.
They don't look in order at all.
This is probably because they're not. Somebody just willy-nilly
just was throwing them over in a pile.
And so the reason I want this to happen is I want that pattern to be recreated. And so
it's like doing a puzzle.
Yeah. It looks like this goes here, this goes here. No? Steph, why didn't you put them in order? What were you thinking?
Yeah, that looks, you're getting it.
It is like a puzzle. Okay, where do we think this guy goes? Here?
Yeah.
No,
I can't see
maybe.
because of the comments. I need to...
Okay.
Gosh. I don't know now.
Huh.
Are the strips 1/2 inch or 3/4?
1/2 inch. Oh, here
good
comes
God.
our buddy. So, the moral of this story is when you cut your in order, I like to make mistakes so that you don't have to.
I feel like he belongs here, maybe. Or something.
And see, here's the, just to make it more challenging, is there's 2 sides to this glass too, but I don't think I flipped any of them over when I put them here.
Okay, this is correct.
Yep.
This.
We've got that part. Then I feel like this goes here, but maybe not.
There. No.
Mm-mm.
Darn it, what the heck?
And see, this will make life more complicated if you can do it
Oh,
this
yeah,
way,
there,
too.
definitely. That, yeah.
Let's make life more complicated, shall we? You know?
Yeah, you got
Things
it.
are just
There you
too
go.
easy. So darn easy. We need more challenges.
There. We got it.
Well, and so not only did I put them out of order, I flipped the way they were sitting. That's good. So what did we learn there? Don't
I know.
do like I did.
Yeah. Line them up once you cut them.
This guy, I think, goes in the middle here, maybe. Yeah. there we
Yeah,
go.
okay.
Not only that, but it looks a little bit like an X-ray, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
Okay, so that's in order. Jeez.
Chester, how is your day going?
Okay. I think I'm going to put pale blue in between and then clear. I just think that the pale blue, it complements this, but it's not as dark, and so it's just going to add some color, but it's not going to obscure anything. And so we will do that. See if I can keep them in order. Ah! Stay over here. You know, probably, what?
Freaking
Chester?
He's biting it.
You know what's funny is there's days where I don't see this cat all morning. And today, of course, he wants to be front and center. He's kind of a ham. I've lost my cutting tool. There it is. You know, I always think that I'm going to get an apron and put my tools in my pouch all the time. Ha! Kelly, you knew that was funny, didn't you?
Oh. She'd lose her apron. She'd have it on for 2 seconds and it would be gone.
It's true. Okay, so I'm just going to cut this to 10 inches. So then if I wanted to, I could just start cutting the strips and then cut the strips to 10 inches.
How many strips?
I'm going to do 9 of each. I'm going to do 9 of the pattern, 9 of the pale blue, and 9 clear. And we may need to add 1 or 2. I need to get the one out. I had it, at first I did 6 of each, and I felt like the glass was just falling over too much in the dam mold. And so I filled it with a little bit more glass, and it made it a lot easier. As soon as that glass is cooled down, I'll bring it in here.
So they need 27 strips? 27?
As far as I know.
Okay.
We'll know that real soon, as soon as we put them in the mold. Oops. I have a confession. Back in the day, I used to use this as a straight edge.
Oh gee, oh god, this is not gonna be good. Okay, good. I thought he was gonna land on the plank.
So this is how I used to would have done this. Is I would have used this as a straight edge, scored at 1/2 inch, scored at 1 inch, scored at 1.5 inches, and keep going, and then I'd break the strips out. In this particular project, it probably would have worked because it's not, you know, I'm not creating a checkerboard or something where everything has to be completely precise. But I'm trying. Oops, I just did that badly. See that? Bad score. My finger touched the, my finger hit the block is what happened.
It's a knife.
So what happened on that, guys, is when I was pulling this way, I hit this with my finger.
Do you cut the strips a little shorter than the mold?
A tiny bit. Now I'll tell you why. Is the you don't want the edge of the glass to scrape your dam mold, because it will scrape the glass separator off, and then it'll stick, and you'll be mad. I kind of did this backwards. I should have showed them cutting the thin fire and the clear glass that goes in it, but we'll show them that.
Yeah, it's fine.
And so doing it this way, I can stack those strips up next to each other, and they're going to be so close to the same exact height, as opposed to the way I used to do it. There would be variations of, you know, just the tiniest little bit, because me just eyeballing down here of what a 1/2 inch is, you know, I'm going to do it a little bit differently each time. But we used to make kits, jewelry kits. We used to make a kit to make a bracelet. You know, maybe if we have time, I will make one of those bracelets where we use a strip and fiber paper. We'll just see how it goes. 8, one more. Are you doing another project? I think you ought. What we could do is you could do another frit cast project, and they could watch you do that while I cut the rest of, I don't know. I just didn't know if this is monotonous. Is it monotonous? Is it, Kelly? Is it monotonous? Okay, let me show you guys a trick that I have on cutting this fiber paper, thin fire. This is going to, some people are going to go crazy on this because it's not exactly. What I did is I put my papyrus through my grid, and I knew I needed 4 1/4 inch wide.
It's called the Morton system.
Oh, that's the phone, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then I wanted it to be 10 long. There you go. Okay, go show them some other samples. Creative Paradise is Stephanie. Can I help you?
So this is what she's going to be making, showing you how to make. These are all used with strips. Jennifer Joy said it's not monotonous for her. She could watch it all day.
Okay, so that is how I made this fiber paper that goes in the bottom of this mold. It's a little bit long, so I must have measured it a little bit more than 10.
Okay, when Stephanie started cutting the wispy blue, she pulled the first couple of strips with Grosier pliers and then switched to running pliers. Any reason or special top associated with that mold?
You know, actually, Jennifer could probably chime in on which technique. I prefer the running pliers on a long strip like that. Sometimes when I use the Grosiers, I end up getting a little bit of a flare where I'm holding my grosiers and pulling. And so when I use the running plier at the bottom, I don't get that as much. And again, on this project, I'm not sure that it is that critical that they're perfect, but we should always strive for perfection, shouldn't we? I mean, really, Kelly? I know you do. She is more of a perfectionist.
It's doing that, the alert, like as if there's a... Maybe it's just a practice.
Okay. So there's the strips. Pretty clean. They feel almost exactly the same height. So, and that's how. All right.
Jennifer says she prefers running pliers or a safety brake for those brakes.
Okay, cool. And safety brake, oh, I just dropped something. I can't remember how big this glass is. Okay, good. Oh, I just chopped a piece of glass off of this because I had a huge sheet and I just cut a piece thinking, oh, I just need it to be smaller. And I didn't measure it before I did that. Not real bright because it's just barely long enough. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to cut a 10-inch square. I'm going to be just a tiny bit under 10.
Peggy said, well, that was a light bulb moment, the cutting method for the fiber paper.
Oh, haha. Well, I tell you why it came up is I have got those paper cutters. You know what I'm talking about, like in school. And I used to try it with that. But when you're cutting a 20-inch long piece of paper, it's not easy to do in a 12-inch paper cutter. Okay, so I want to be 10 by 4 1/4 is going to be my base. Oh, that's a mess.
I never thought to use the Morton board to cut papyrus.
If there's a lazy way to do something, I have probably come up with it. Don't you think, Kelly?
Yeah. Not lazy, but more efficient.
You know, they've got that thing. There's a quadrant of people. People are either... so this I've made a 10-inch by 4 1/4. And now, you want to come over here? So when I put this in here, I'm going to want these corners to be nipped off. And the only reason is these molds aren't exactly square in the first place. There's a roundness to the edges. And if I drop this glass in here with that pointy edge scraping the wall, it's going to take my glass separator off of those walls and it'll be a problem. And so I just nipped the corners. Now I'm going to wash it. And I'm just going to use alcohol. There's a million different theories on what to use to wash your glass. I just like to use the 91% isopropyl alcohol because it evaporates quickly and it's not going to add any soap residue or anything like that. It pretty much just use it to clean it off and then it evaporates. Now, drum roll please, I'm going to drop it in here. And hopefully I measured it correctly. I did. And so there's a little bit of give. You see that, Kelly? Mm-hmm. I probably could have, I could have been a little closer to 10. I was at probably 9 15/16. And so I could have been a little bit closer. It's going to be okay because I'm going to fill this mold with so much glass that it's not going to be a problem. But the worst thing could be is if it were too tight. And as you put it in there, you scrape down the wall. And so we don't want to do that. So now I'm going to cut some more clear strips. Yep, I put my block box end backwards every dang time. I think what I should do, I mean, it seems silly, but I put it in wrong every time because in my head, it should be this way. So I'm going to make a little arrow. Let's see if I pay any attention to that. I bet I don't. Okay. And I knew that I had it in this hole. So you see how that works, guys? Well, I don't want to move it. I'll show you. Oh, here's one. Ugh.
I can't focus, but Jennifer Joy is right. It's the TC Toyo.
This bit here moves, guys. And that's how it sits in your grid. So if you put it here, you move this. And that's how you screw it down. And then, so that's why you put it this direction, not the way that
My God, Kathy just said such a clean shop.
Yeah, you guys have no idea. Kelly really did a great job cleaning this room. My process is insanity, especially if I'm really excited about something. My least care is what the place looks like. And so it can get insane. Can't it, Kelly?
Yeah. I think all artist studios are like that.
I don't know. I know some people, like I bet Mark Hubbard's never gets just hideous.
I think he's an exception because he's exceptional.
That's true. He is.
He has cookies and banana bread and all sorts of goodies in his. We have Mentos.
Somebody gave those to us. A glass customer.
Yeah, she was lovely.
And I guess she works for a company that supplies things like that. And actually, that sounds good right now. I may have to go get one. We do have some local traffic from time to time. When we, in our production process, sometimes a mold will be less than perfect, or a mold that I have used and I can't sell as a new mold. We'll put those in the second spin. And so we do have people come in, we sell them at a discounted price. At one time, I used to try and sell glass, but I don't do that anymore. I decided that we just need to do what we do best and focus on that. And that's making creative tools for artists. At one time, oopsie, I had that too far down. We used to make plaster molds for people that did ceramics. That's really my start in life as a professional. I worked for my aunt. Look at.
I just want to say that for everybody asking about the Morton system and those little yellow things and the tool that Stephanie is using, we did an excellent webinar with Jennifer Joy, and you can get it. It's on our website.
No, it isn't.
It's not? Oh, I forgot it isn't.
Yeah.
Oops.
And so she's going to be doing a video.
Yeah.
And, but we are talking about having Jen back to your webinar.
Yes, so stay tuned for that.
Okay, so now I have 9 strips, 9 clear, 9 pale blue. Oh, dadgummit, did you see what I just did?
Oh my gosh.
Sometimes. I think I'm going to bring the mold over here so I don't have to do that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start filling this mold with these strips, and really it would have been pretty smart of me to clean the glass before I cut the strips, but I didn't do that. Anyway, if you use oil in your cutter, you're going to want to clean it after you cut the strips anyway, and plus your handprints and stuff, so I probably would clean it again even if I had cleaned it before I cut it.
Good luck to Kathy, who's going to the grocery store right now.
Where's Kathy from? Do we know? Which Kathy is that?
Bidler.
That's who I thought. I feel like Kathy lives in Oklahoma. Is that right? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start putting these strips in here in a pattern after I answer this phone call. Creative Paradise is Stephanie. Can I help you?
Just go see what Chester's up to.
I'm good.
Chester, what are you up to today?
No, she isn't. She's staying home. Okay. Okay. Okay, Marilyn, are you going to be available here in maybe an hour? Yeah, that'd be great. And just at the shop? I will call you back. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye. Calls to make after. Okay. So I have to tell you that this is probably the most frustrating part of this process for me, is getting these guys to lean at the right length. And so on this one, I'll be right
Kathy is from California. She's one of Jennifer's assistants.
Oh, okay. I was all wrong on that. So we're going to go...
Oh, Linda's asking, when is the video on the Morton system? We're just in talks.
Yeah. Jen's right there. We could ask her.
Kelly, if you want to come to Florida, you can clean my workspace.
Yeah. You can't have Kelly. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'd like to share, but... Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm putting this in here, and I need to be a little bit more present while I'm doing this, because I just grabbed them. Stephanie. So, the reason this is important is I'm trying to recreate this pattern, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I need to put them in that order. So I'm gonna feed them into the mold this direction. I'm gonna pick them up and put them that way. I put the pale blue, I put the clear, put a pale blue, then I'm going to grab another pattern one, then a pale blue. One second, I did not clean.
I'm just going to show somebody that, not the trash there in the corner, but this is the finished piece that Patty Gray made.
I just did the pattern wrong. Okay, so the pattern is the glass with the pattern on it, then a clear, and then a pale blue. Glass with pattern. Oh, look what I did. Beginning to question my sanity here. Okay. So it's going clear, pale blue, pattern. Clear, pale blue, pattern. Ooh, what's this guy's story? Wow, that is way off. I don't know how that happened. Probably because I was bragging about my ability to cut them all perfectly. And so this mold is not going to be full. We're going to lean the glass. And that, I have to tell you, is the most challenging part of this project. And there's probably a secret to it that I don't know. Oh, you put that bad strip in there again. Okay, guys, so the reason that it kind of matters how wide your strips are is if you create an area in this project where there's less volume, you're inviting an eruption because of volume control. And so that is, if I was doing this as a regular strip project, which would just be like this, you know, where I'm just going to fuse it straight up and down and create a strip project. If I had an area, if I had a strip and especially if I didn't have a base of glass under here, if I had a short strip, what that's going to do is it's going to create an area of less volume. And so these are wide strips. These are 1/2 inch strips. And I think if I was doing a strip project just straightforward, I would do less than 1/2 inch strips. I would do probably 3/8 inch strips, and then I would put a base of glass under it, and then I would make sure that my strips are all of at least that height, because if I put a tiny strip in here, it is going to create an area where that glass isn't going to be 6 millimeters after it's fused, and what it does is it will create an eruption. That's one of the most common things I see on these projects. And we'll talk about that in the scrap project too. We're going to, there we go.
Wendy wants to know, why are the strips on the side? On their side.
They're not going to be here in a minute. I'm going to lean them. So here, watch this direction. And this is the most frustrating part of this project, is getting this lean just right, because they want to flatten out. And we want it to be just enough so that you can see that pattern coming through.
We're back on.
Okay. So, sorry about that, guys. We had a little... So, see the pattern? Can you see that, Kelly?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's what we're going for, is we want them to be at a lean. If I wanted more pattern, I could put less glass in and have it even lean more.
Is everybody back with us? I'll wait to get some replies. Can someone comment to me and let me know if you're still there? Because we did disconnect for a second. Okay, thanks, Judy. Stephanie's run off somewhere, so we'll have a little Chester update. Chester, do you like this strip project? Chester, do you like the strip project?
Are we back?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the one that was in the kiln.
Oh, it's hot.
It's not hot.
It's
get me in
hot.
trouble. It is not hot.
It's really hot.
Kelly, people are going to be screaming at me. They're going to say, oh, yeah.
It's not hot.
It's warm, but it's not hot. And so, can they see how that pattern did?
Oh, someone else is doing a watch party.
And so that is what the back side of it looks like. This is what the front looks like. And I'm going to slump this. I think I'll slump it into this one over here. You know what, Kelly? I think when people start watching, they think they have to do a watch party, because I saw it when I logged in on the iPad. It says watch party. It's the button right down there.
Oh,
and so I think that's how they do it.
I thought I turned that on.
And so I'm going to slump this into this just to make a little bit of a sushi with a flat bottom. It's just a decorative piece. I could also... I'll think about that. Okay, but this project, so everybody understands that one now?
Yeah, we've got a bit of a lag.
Let's see, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, yep. So
Is it bad picture quality for everyone? Judy, will you let us know? I'm not connected to Wi-Fi.
Oh, that's right. Well, we can get out and get back in if you want.
Well, someone said that is gorgeous. So I'll just hear from someone. Because I can finish this video and start a new one. Okay, Linda said not bad picture. Can you, why clear glass on the bottom? To keep it 6 mm?
Yes. It's
Okay.
just, I find it the best. to put a base at the bottom of these molds over a piece of papyrus.
Can you post or say the schedule for both fusing and slumping? Would think have to be slow because of the thickness.
You know, on this one, what I did is I went 350 to 1150 and held for 90 minutes.
On this one.
And then I went 50 degrees an hour up to 1330 and held for, I think, 30 minutes. And then I went 350 to 1470 and held for 15. And then dropped down to the annealing of 950 and held for 90 minutes.
Okay.
But we can write that down too. Okay, so that is that project basically. This next project here, actually, do you want to do a frit cast or something and then come back to this, or do you just want me to keep going?
I don't mind. Did you need more time to prep or anything?
No, I just didn't know if people needed a break.
They love this multicolored base.
Okay, what's funny about this is I hated this when I put it in the kiln last night, didn't I?
Mm-hmm.
So this project is a scrap project, and so I tried to use glass from my scrap bin, and I just grabbed green, yellow, and this Murano to begin with and started feeling it. And then I realized, I don't really like that together. But then as I built, I put some pale purple in there. This whisker glass helps everything. I dropped some mosaic size chocolate and white frit. And just kept adding stuff, and now I really like it.
When you put the glass in before you put them on their side, says that this one, how much empty space on each side and equal on both sides?
Actually, I think they're talking about after it gets in the mold, right? This really, I just leaned it. I can't tell you that I would think that most of the glass is leaning at the same angle. But this guy over here, there's a little bit of a gap. If we could cut this mold in half, you could see that there's a little bit of a gap where this guy's leaning against the wall. But what we're going to do is with that firing schedule, the glass is going to collapse, with that long hold at 1150. It's going to collapse, merge nice and flat, and then we're going to ramp up, hold it 1330, and the glass is just going to even it out. If I went too fast, it's possible that I would be getting some eruptions or something, because this glass wouldn't be collapsing at a nice even rate. But I'll have to try that. Maybe I'll do that sometime, see if I can make it erupt with the firing schedule. Probably wouldn't be a bad idea to do something like that, just so that people can see. But to answer that question, see, there's a little bit of a gap here. The glass is leaning this direction. I want to say it's like at a 30-degree angle. If you wanted to see more pattern, you could do less strips. But I'll show you why that becomes a little bit of a challenge. I'll just take the middle guys out, right? And then I'll never know where it goes, will I? I better not do that. Okay, so if I had less strips in here, the glass really wants to fall and be flat. And so they're kind of leaning against each other here. But I could put a few less strips and have more of a lean, and you'd see more of the pattern possibly.
And you'll write down the instructions?
Firing schedule?
Yeah, in the comments maybe?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so on this project, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a wine bottle holder. And so show them this mold. This mold is a mold that we've had for a long time. Let's see if it says a copyright date on it. 2010 is when we made this one. This is one of the newer Patty Gray dams. And it just so happens to be that if you slump this glass on this mold, you can make a really cool, thick wine bottle holder. I assume people have seen this in action. When we first made that mold, I took it to the liquor store and I stacked as many wine bottles as I could on it and took a picture. I have a lot of wine bottles here, but so what you can do is you can stack 1, 2, 3, 4 this way, and then you can put 3 on top of that, and then 2, and then 1. The glass obviously is going to hold the weight. That's a nice thick piece of glass. But I have done this project too, just with 2 sheets of glass, and it works too.
Back to the strip project. Is the papyrus just at the bottom and not on the sides?
Right.
Okay.
I did, glad you asked that. I sprayed these molds with a zip, and I do that even though I'm putting papyrus in here, because if something happens, I just go ahead and spray the bottom also. Probably paranoia. You know, I don't know. It's possible that when Patty does her classes, she just does the outside edge and then puts the thin fire. You know, it's probably safe to do that because that papyrus isn't going anywhere. But for sure, I use zip on the inside of the walls because I want, the zip is really great because the glass rolls away from the mold wall and you don't get serrated edges or burrs. And so I applied zip to this mold, and now I'm going to cut a piece of papyrus.
I can do a mushroom.
Okay.
If after this, or
well, go ahead.
we've only got half an hour.
Okay.
I thought we really got over time. Maybe
I'll just do this. Real
okay.
Quick. It's fairly fast.
Can they use thin fire paper?
Yep, you can. My preference is papyrus because it's nice and thick.
Can I put this on the stand?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is your arm getting tired?
Yeah, and I think I'm a bit shaky.
Me too.
You look perfect. Okay. Sorry for the wobbles.
So I'm going to cut my papyrus for this project at 12 1/4 inches long by 4 3/4 inches wide. Okay, so
Well, you know, that's funny that Peter said that it works really well for rolled hand towels in the guest bathroom, because I made one for the bathroom and I put toilet roll on it here at work. I'll go get it while she's doing the project. What is the size of the wine holder? It is oh my gosh, I just caught a glimpse of myself on your iPad. Sticking my head in. It's about the size of this ruler, which is, oh, I can't read this. I need to get a different one. Okay, it is about 12 inches long by 5 inches wide. It's 12 by 5.
the mold, or they mean that?
The glass, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
On the strip project, can you tell once more the order of the glass?
Say that again.
On the strip project, can you tell once more the order of the glass?
Yep, on that particular one, I went the wispy glass, the patterned wispy glass, clear, and then pale blue. Patterned wispy glass, clear, then pale blue, repeating itself. So on this one, I did the strawberries and cream, clear, and then orange. Actually, that one's, it's this direction, sorry. Orange, patterned glass, clear, orange, patterned glass, clear, orange, patterned glass, clear. I did that because the clear lets you see the pattern better than if it was just orange. Okay, so this project we're calling a scrap project. And so given that, I'm going to pretend that I do not have a piece of clear glass big enough to fill the bottom of this mold. I do, but if it's a scrap project, we should pretend that we don't. What I'm doing right now is this piece of glass has got a burr on the side, a flare, and I don't want that to scrape the side of the mold, and so I'm using, a lot of you don't know this, but your grozers have got a little grinding action that they can do. But like that, it can help take off little pieces like that. So I'm going to just use pieces of clear glass to fill the bottom of this mold. As a matter of fact, if you just had literally scraps of clear, nothing even this big, I have done that before where I use a mosaic nipper and fill the bottom of this mold with a solid layer of clear. Doesn't have to be clear. The reason I use clear is because I don't have to think. I can just start putting glass in this mold, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. If you're doing 3 design layers, you can do that. It's just 3 design layers you have to think about. With this, I've got 1 layer of glass that's clear. I'm not having to worry about what pattern it is or anything of that sort. And so I'm putting that clear in there, and I'm going to now fill this area. Be right back.
What was the answer on using thin fire?
You can. Okay, on this, I want to make sure and not drag the glass onto the mold wall. I think I've said that enough, but I want to re-say it. I want to say it again. I'm just winging this on filling that. And Chester's tearing up the paper again.
His butt's gonna be in there.
Is it?
Yeah. Yes. Oh my gosh! Excuse Chester.
Okay, so I've filled the bottom of this mold with clear glass. And so I think you can see, I could have done the same thing. If I had only tiny pieces of clear, I could just fill it with it and use a mosaic nipper and just try and fill this with a solid layer of glass. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get scrap glass and start filling. I want another solid layer of glass over this solid layer. And the reason that is, guys, is if I create areas that are only 3 millimeter or 4 millimeter or 5 millimeter thick, and the rest of it is, and I go to a full fuse, that's going to create an eruption. And so I'm going to use scrap glass and fill that clear glass with another layer of glass. Any color choices anybody has? Maybe I'll try and go
Kim said, I wish I could live in the I'm just winging this world. I'd have measured that for that tiny piece.
yeah. And there's some value to being a precise person, that's for sure. I would save a lot of time for myself if I was that way a little bit more. Sorry. So I did not pre-select any colors, guys. And so I don't want to make one just like that. I can talk to you about what was in this one, but I'm going to change it up. I'm going to put a little bit more blue in this one. I'm going to put a little bit of vanilla cream also. And then, what do we think about that? Okay, pretend it's scrap size.
You need to find you some scraps.
Yeah, why don't you do that? Bring over whatever Kelly brings over from the scrap bin is what we will use. How do you like that? And so when I have a piece of glass that has a straight edge, I do like to use that to my advantage and put it where a straight edge would be handy to have. And so
Let me have a look at what colors were.
that you're going to need to bring me more than that.
No, I know, but I was just having a little
Well,
look at
that
this
is
color palette.
kind of what we did here, except I didn't put any orange. We can do that.
Okay.
So we'll go with greens.
What's that?
That's that frit, that
Okay.
mosaic size frit. This is going to be a bright, cheerful wine holder. Yeah, we can do that. Oh no, those are 90.
Oh.
Okay, so this glass that I'm using right now is 96. Obviously, you can do it with 90. You just need to make sure to use the same compatible glass throughout the project. And so what I'm going to do is for you to know, so I'm going to keep putting glass on this bottom layer, and I'm going to use frit also to fill some of the cracks. Some of you are probably amazing mosaic artists that could fill this thing with just using your mosaic nipper, and that would work. Oh boy, that one's been in there a while. So this one is pale green. It's got a little bit of a Sharpie mark on it. Honestly, I think that most Sharpie will burn away except for the metallic, but I don't want to take any chances. I think that is actually it's a wax. I'm not going to use that one. It's not coming off. This is going to be a very, and that.
Ooh, yeah, let's do this. Can you use this?
Yeah, we can.
You're gonna need lots and lots more, right? Of this
Yeah.
scrap. I just love that one. Maybe some yellow.
Yeah, and that's funny because the yellow is what threw me when I made that one. I thought, oh, I don't like that yellow. Now I'm like, I love the
This
yellow.
is so handy for scrap glass because we have a lot since cleaning the glass room. I'm gonna check.
Any pasta or anything? I buy cheap wine in boxes.
You know what would be good is some of that Monterey, the streaky glass that's white and clear. This one, do you recognize it? I think we have some of that in the scrap.
Okay.
And I need another orange. So when you're doing something like this, it's totally subjective for your own color taste. They're just some basic things to think about. Like, I wouldn't want just one piece of orange. It seems random. Yeah, that's perfect. And so I'm going to add, and I want to space it out. It's just like if you take a photo or paint a painting. There are just some real basic things to think of design-wise. I don't want all my orange to be on one side. I don't want, you know what I'm saying? Makes sense, Kelly?
Yeah. I love these pieces you do because sometimes they come out and they're just spectacular.
Thank you. Very random here. Random. Okay, this glass is a oceanside glass, and I think it's called Monterey. what I remember anyway. And it adds just some cool depth. I feel that way about the whisker glass is what I call that. I'm sure it's called, oh, you know, I'm not sure. No, I don't remember what the whisker glass is actually called. Eh. Oh, some olive green. See, that would be pretty. To me, I like amber, olive green, and maybe some of this would have been pretty just by itself. If I were watching this at home, I'd be like, ooh, don't put it over there. And I can't see if you have questions right now because Kelly's on the phone, but she will be right back. I feel like I need more amber. Lunch break.
And we've just had like 5-6 people join.
Yeah.
Still need more glass?
Well, I don't know. I'm arguing with myself about the kind of warm neutral colors versus the, I don't know.
What kind of grain was that? GM
178?
178.
Mm-hmm.
And then what brand of Grosier do you have?
This particular one, the Grosier, that's a Diamond Tech. Yeah. Oh no, actually that's Choice. Yeah, Choice, which is a brand made by or marketed by D&L.
Joanne wants to know, do you have to make sure you don't overlap?
On this bottom layer I do. You can, but the only reason I do that is I want to make darn sure that I'm covering the bottom. And so I find it easier to do by not overlapping on this second layer. I hope that makes sense. Okay, looks like I've gotten most of the areas with glass. Now I'm going to use some frit. And Kelly, yesterday what I did was, I remember the frit that you made when you were making, I think it was either a heart or a rock. You made a whole bunch of it.
In a cup.
Yep.
Yeah.
I used that, and it's cool looking. I don't know how well you can see it here in the camera, but I'll show you what it looks like.
Ernie just joined and he missed all of Chester's appearances.
Oh, he'll be back, I'm sure. I don't know where he is, actually. He's been here heckling the whole time. Heckling in the background. Okay. I think that's a bare spot there. Oh, what the heck? A little bit more orange, huh? This is going to be interesting when it comes out of the kiln. That is for sure. Okay, so I've tried my best to fill the bottom of this mold. I didn't use any of this purple on this layer. I'll do some in the next. With sheet glass. As best I can. I mean, if I wanted to bore everybody to absolute tears, I could sit here and fill the entire bottom with teeny tiny little pieces of glass.
I don't think you're boring anyone.
Well, I don't know. I guess it's a free world. They could always leave, right? But I don't want to do that. Okay, so I've just stuck little pieces of glass in all of the voids that I can see. But there are voids here that I want to address, and I'm going to do that with frit.
How many layers? This, right now I'm at 2 layers. The project is going to end up being close to 3 layers. It's going to be 2 3/4-ish.
So this is the frit that Kelly had mixed. Was it a heart that you made? And so what's in here is clear, clear, a little bit of turns pink, a little bit of Ming green. I don't know, something else.
Oh, this is good stuff. This is minimal.
Yes, he was. And
That
what?
mold is GM1728. Gonna save that.
Yeah. And so what I'm doing with this, guys, is I'm going to put this frit in here almost like grout for a mosaic. I should have put something with a flat edge there. This guy bothers me. Yeah. Yeah. On this glass, this Moreno, the Monterey glass, you do want to fuse it. If this was a top layer, I'd want to make sure and fuse it with the clear glass side up. The side that has the white dripped on it sometimes can get a little cloudy when fused that side up. Okay, so basically,
You got bubbles inspired.
let's see. Let's see. I don't see many in there. I thought I would get more, to be honest, because I'm adding frit and I think it's all about the firing schedule. So there's a few little tiny guys in there, but that does not bother me at all. So I'm going to move that frit around into the cracks. Some of it can be over the top. It's okay. But I want to fill any voids with enough frit that it's level with the top of that first layer of glass. Make sense? This little problem area here is annoying me. There we go. And so there we go. Filled the void spots. And I could have used clear glass. I could have used any color of frit. This particular one I got a kick out of using because Kelly made so much of it. It was sitting over there in this tub. And I thought, my golly, I'm going to use that. And so I'm just going to sweep some of that frit off of the areas that I want to be more clear. I mean, more, less busy. So now I've got basically 2 layers of glass in here. Now I'm going to add another design layer. And I'm going to use a lot of clear on that design layer too. I'm going to use clear sheet glass scraps nipped up to help fill some of this.
Chris is watching.
Oh, hey honey. What's for dinner? That's my husband, everybody. That's who Chris is.
John Chris.
Yeah, he's one of his aliases. This glass is the same. This glass that has the whiskers on it, there's two sides to this. One, you can see the little whiskery parts of glass have been laid over clear. You want to fuse it with the clear side up because sometimes those little whisker things can get frosty. And so you're going to be happier if you fuse it with the other side down. With the other side up, that's what I meant. I don't know what I meant. You know what I meant, I think. Now I'm rambling. Okay, what was it I was going to put? I was going to put some of this purple. Now, there's no logic to why I put some on the bottom and some on the top. This is just me having fun, really.
Is everyone else having fun?
I hope so. I hope that people are, I wanted to talk about that, about the creative process and how important it is to me. Like Kelly and I both, there are times where we just need to come out here and make some glass. One thing or another making you feel stressed out or frustrated, like you're working on an accounting project and you can't find the 50 cents that you lost somewhere. You're chasing it down. Just come out and make glass, and then you'll go back and find it. I paint. I do oil painting as a hobby, and I need to get that out at home. I actually was thinking of doing something for Kelly.
Oh. What? For my birthday?
I don't think I'll have it done for your birthday, but I'm thinking, that picture you took with you and Susie and Charlie?
Oh, yeah.
I'm thinking of painting that as a portrait for you.
If Ernie's still here, I think he would like to know that Chester is now here. Chester is back. Did you go outside, Chester? You're filthy. I think you did. Your ears are cold. Say hi to Ernie. Everyone's saying hi to Chris.
A lot of people probably know him. Chris has, has worked for Creative Paradise for many years, and so you've probably seen him at shows. Right now, he's at home taking care of his mother. I don't know how much of this information we really need to put out there, but
Wendy wants to know, do you ever paint on glass?
I do. But I have to admit, I prefer to paint on canvas myself, just because that's just what I'm used to painting on. And so I've got some projects around here that I've painted, used enamels, and also used China paints on glass. But my painting process, I'm used to having some tooth. You know what I mean? And with glass, in general, it's a trickier media to paint on than a canvas or ceramics. And that's because, there are some people that are amazing at it, like Mark Hufford, and he teaches people how to do it. And he's going to be here, by the way. And so now what I'm doing is I'm just filling this mold with some clear. Mind you, I have got more than 2 layers most places, but I want it to be, I don't want to create a real thin area. I want to basically have real close to 3 layers all over. And some of this clear that I'm using is double thick, and it's just what I happen to have. It's glass that I had cut up for a webinar, and so I'm just throwing it in here. And you can put things on edge. We're going to fuse this for so long that it'll come out smooth.
Are you using 3mm glass?
Some of this that I'm doing is 6mm, and that's just because it's what I'm reaching in and grabbing. Okay, so I've pretty much filled this entire mold with very close to 3 layers of glass, but certainly more than 2 layers all over. if I did this project and I hadn't filled that second layer pretty darn full with a solid layer of glass, I might get an eruption, because in that area the glass wouldn't be the required 6 millimeters thick.
Is your third layer level?
Relatively. You can, you know, just have things like this too. You don't have to make it level. As a matter of fact, I threw some stuff in on that one last minute that I think added to it. I'm going to put a little bit of clear frit. And that's just, I'm just filling some voids with some clear frit. Probably don't have to, but I do try and make everything have the same volume of glass in it. But I could just do a design layer and not sweat it being solid. Okay. I think people
Are you
can
going
see.
to use the same schedule as the other one?
Yes, I fired those two in the same kiln at the same time. And it was a long hold at 1470 for 15 minutes. That's, you know, I don't normally fuse. I certainly don't do frit castings that long. And so, like, here's 4 layers. Now Kelly brought over some of this confetti, and I'm going to stick that here and there. And then over there, Kelly, against the wall, see on that light box, there's that frit that I used on top.
Oh, yeah. I like that. That's nice.
You'll notice that most of the glass I've used in this project is transparent. You don't have to. You could use some opaques, but just realize that where you put an opaque, you're going to...
Yeah, did you read that comment?
I
Is
did.
all the glass transparent?
Most of it is. I mean, it's at least semi-transparent.
What you made me do?
Okay, this glass is a frit that I've had around for a long time. It's this chocolate white. And one thing I did like about this, you see how I've got this kind of line going this direction, some red pieces going this direction? I kind of like to do that because this project is so busy looking. If you want, you can even add I'm just going to add some black as a focal point, give the eye a place to rest.
Our time is almost up.
Yep. And I will post this. I will post the firing schedule too. That to me is just kind of adding an area for your eye to rest. And I'm going to put a little bit of this in here. This is that chocolate and white frit. It did kind of cool things. When it's full fused, it just looks cool. And I am going to put a little bit of, on this one, I used a little bit of pewter frit, medium grain. I'm going to put a little bit of something. Kelly, pick a medium grain frit, an opal one from over there. I do recommend, so I just moved this glass back. If I have this piece of glass sitting against the mold wall, sometimes that'll invite a little bit of a burr. We don't want to invite that. I'm just being paranoid. I think I could probably stop adding glass. Okay, champagne, that could be interesting. So she's given me some champagne opal. it's kind of flesh colored, so I'm just going to add it willy-nilly, but
willy-nilly and weevil.
I didn't add the confetti yet either. Yeah, this is gonna be interesting. Huh. Pieces of confetti. And this is plum opal.
The kiln you will be using to fire this project, does it have top and side coils or just side coils?
This particular one has side coils. If I had the option, I'm sorry, it has, you know, I need to look, I can't remember. So we'll go out there and we'll load this in the kiln and we'll show them.
Someone asked, and I think they must be, do you have a finished slumped piece to show?
This one, it's not yet, but where's the wine rack? There it is. This one is one I did using a very similar technique. I did some more strips on this one, but I did it in that mold, and then I slumped it on the wine bottle mold, and it created that. I hope that answered the question. Okay, and this is one that I did that I have not slumped yet. All right, let's go put this in the kiln.
Okay, I'll take, and then we'll be done.
Yep. So I'm going to put these molds up on little posts so that there's even circulation all over, and I want it to be level.
So you're doing that for even circulation?
Of heat, and so I don't want to put these posts all the way under the dam, because that'll create an area that's got different heat distribution.
Okay.
And so I'm just putting them to the edge, like so. And 3 seems to work. And then I'll do the same thing on that other mold. This is a 1/2 inch kiln post, and that's about 1 inch. Doesn't matter. I just used that because it's what I grabbed. But a 1/2 inch kiln post will work too. I can put that, I'll put that other project on here, and then we will fire it to that full fuse, and then I'll show them what it looks like tomorrow.